Hello, guys. In this episode, we explore the life of a woman whose figure had a pivotal role in the creation of prosthetic masks, whose work impacted on the lives of disfigured soldiers, and the lasting contribution to both art and humanitarian aid is still important to this day. In the grim tapestry of World War I, amidst the mud, blood, and shattered lives, a figure of profound compassion and artistic genius emerged to perform a miracle of restoration, not just of flesh, but of dignity and hope. Anna Coleman Ladd, 1878 to 1939, an American sculptor of considerable talent, stepped away from the traditional confines of her art to confront one of the war's most harrowing consequences: the horrific facial disfigurements suffered by soldiers, known hauntingly as the girls' cassis, the broken faces. Her life's work during this period, though often overlooked in grander narratives, was a testament to the transformative power of art and empathy, a story brimming with the quiet rebellion of societal discomfort, profound human suffering, and an unwavering commitment to the unseen wounds of war. Anna Coleman Ladd was already an accomplished sculptor, known for her expressive portrait busts and allegorical figures, when the Great War erupted. Living in Paris, she witnessed firsthand the devastating human cost, particularly the plight of soldiers returning from the trenches with faces so mangled by shrapnel and gunfire that they were often ostracized, even by their own families. These men, often young and once vibrant, were now condemned to a life of hiding, their injuries so grotesque that they caused visceral reactions of fear and revulsion. Traditional medical science, while adept at saving lives and mending bones, could do little to restore their shattered visages, leaving these men in a living hell of social isolation and profound psychological torment, often leading to suicide. Inspired by the pioneering work of British sculptor Francis Derwent Wood, who had established a masks for facial disfigurement department in London, Ladd recognized an urgent, desperate need. In 1918, with the crucial support of the American Red Cross, she founded the Studio for Portrait Masks in Paris, located discreetly away from public view. This was her first profound offense, not one of moral failing, but of radical departure and societal discomfort. A celebrated artist, whose medium was typically bronze and marble for the elite, crafting beautiful and idealized forms, chose instead to dedicate her exquisite skill to crafting prosthetic faces for the most unfortunate victims of war. This was a task deemed by many as gruesome, unglamorous, and far removed from the elevated realm of fine art. It was a dirty, emotionally draining job that few artists of her stature would dare to touch, a quiet rebellion against the aesthetic sensibilities of her peers. Ladd's studio was not a sterile medical facility in the conventional sense, but a sanctuary where the precision of art met the profound urgency of humanitarianism. Each mask was a painstaking, personalized masterpiece, a true labor of love and meticulous craftsmanship. Soldiers would arrive, often withdrawn, deeply despondent, and their faces hidden behind bandages, crude masks, or even their own hands. Ladd and her small, dedicated team, which included her husband and a few assistants, would first make a precise plaster cast of the soldier's disfigured face. This initial step itself was often traumatic for the men, forcing them to confront the full extent of their injuries. Then, using photographs taken before their injuries, precious glimpses of their former selves, Ladd would sculpt a new, idealized face from paper-thin galvanized copper. She meticulously molded every feature: the curve of a nose, the subtle line of a chin, the gentle swell of cheeks, the contour of a forehead, striving for an uncanny resemblance to their pre-war appearance. The scandal of the process itself was the intimate, almost unbearable, confrontation with extreme trauma and the sheer ugliness of war's aftermath. Ladd and her team worked daily with men whose injuries were often too horrific for public viewing, facing the raw, unfiltered reality of human suffering. Yet, they approached each case with immense sensitivity, artistic precision, and a deep, empathetic understanding. Once the copper mask was shaped, it was then painted with oil-based enamel to precisely match the soldier's individual skin tone, a process that required multiple layers and careful blending. Eyebrows and eyelashes were painstakingly crafted from real hair or fine copper wire, and even small details like moles or scars were replicated. The masks were incredibly thin and lightweight, designed to be worn comfortably, held in place by discreet spectacles or thin elastic bands. The impact of her work was immediate and profoundly transformative. These were not generic prosthetics, They were bespoke portraits designed to restore not just a face, but a lost identity, a shattered sense of self. For the girls Cassis, these masks were a lifeline, transforming them from objects of pity, horror, or morbid curiosity into individuals who could once again face the world, eat in public without causing distress, and reconnect with their loved ones, often for the first time since their injuries. Their former invisibility, their forced retreat from society, was replaced by the quiet, profound triumph of restored normalcy, allowing them to reintegrate into society, find employment, and reclaim a semblance of their former lives and dignity. While her work brought immeasurable physical and psychological relief to hundreds of soldiers, the emotional toll on Anna Coleman Ladd herself must have been immense, a silent and often unacknowledged event of the era. Day after day, week after week, she confronted the extreme suffering of these young men, hearing their harrowing stories, witnessing their despair, and then, through her art, offering them a fragile, yet vital, bridge back to the world. This sustained, intimate exposure to profound trauma, often without the psychological support systems we recognize today, was a quiet event of the era, the unspoken burden carried by those who cared for the most severely wounded. Her dedication was absolute, often working long hours, driven by a deep, almost spiritual, sense of compassion and duty that transcended mere professional obligation. Despite the life-changing impact of her work, Anna Coleman Ladd's contributions were largely overshadowed by the broader narratives of the war and the post-war period. Her studio, having produced nearly 200 masks for French, British, and American soldiers, closed in 1919 as the immediate need subsided and funding became scarce. She returned to her traditional sculpting career, but the unique, humanitarian chapter of her life remained a specialized footnote, known only to a relatively small circle. The scandal here is the historical oversight, the fact that such extraordinary, compassionate artistry and innovation was not more widely celebrated or integrated into the broader understanding of wartime heroism and medical advancement. Her work, though profoundly impactful on individual lives, did not fit neatly into the conventional categories of military valor or scientific breakthrough, making it less visible in the grander historical record, a testament to how easily quiet, empathetic heroism can be forgotten. Anna Coleman Ladd passed away in 1939, just as the world plunged into another global conflict, ironically, one that would see even more devastating facial injuries. Her legacy, however, has slowly but surely re-emerged from the shadows of history. She is now recognized not just as a talented sculptor of traditional forms, but as a pioneering figure in facial prosthetics and a humanitarian whose work transcended the boundaries of art and medicine, demonstrating the profound healing power of aesthetic restoration. Her deeds were not those of personal failing or moral turpitude, but rather the radical choices she made to defy artistic conventions and societal discomfort, the immense psychological burden she navigated, and the quiet, immense labor of her compassionate artistry. She was a woman who saw beyond the broken faces to the shattered souls within, and through her unique artistry, helped to mend them, one mask, one life, at a time, leaving an indelible mark of hope and dignity in a world scarred by war.